The visual and special effects in the 1979 miniseries Salem's Lot were integral to creating its chilling atmosphere and bringing the horror of Stephen King's novel to life. They are going to be an important aspect if the 2024 adaptation is to be a success. I guess time will tell if the visuals and special effects of the recent adaptation will live up to the 1979 version of the movie. In this video, I will be discussing why the 1979 visuals and special effects were a vital part of the movie's success. While the effects may seem modest by today's standards, they were highly effective in their time and played a significant role in establishing the miniseries as a landmark in televised horror. Here's an in-depth look at the visual and special effects that made Salem's Lot so memorable. Let's talk about the practical effects and makeup used in the 1979 version. Number 1 consists of the vampire makeup. The vampire makeup in Salem's Lot is one of its most iconic features, particularly the design of Kurt Barlow, the primary antagonist. Barlow's appearance is drastically different from the suave, charming vampires often seen in media. Instead, he's depicted as a Nosferatu-like creature with a bald head, rat-like teeth, and pale blue skin. This monstrous design, achieved through extensive makeup and prosthetics, made Barlow one of the most frightening vampires ever depicted on screen. The other vampires in the miniseries also feature distinct makeup effects that emphasize their ghastly transformation. Pale, corpse-like skin, bloodshot eyes, and prominent fangs are recurring elements, creating a stark contrast between the living and the undead. These makeup effects help to visually convey the corruption of the town's residents and their descent into monstrosity. Number 2 is of the floating vampire effects. One of the most memorable visual effects in Salem's Lot is the depiction of vampires floating outside windows, particularly the scenes involving Ralphie Glick and Danny Glick. Achieved through practical effects and wire work, these sequences are hauntingly effective. The use of fog and subtle lighting enhances the eerie, dreamlike quality of these moments, making the vampires seem otherworldly and terrifying. The simplicity of the floating effect, characters hovering just outside the windows, combined with the sound design, the tapping on glass, and the vampires' whispering voices, creates an intense, almost surreal atmosphere. These scenes are a testament to how practical effects, when used effectively, can create lasting horror without the need for elaborate CGI. Next is the atmospheric effects. Number 3 consists of the fog and mist. Fog is used extensively throughout Salem's Lot to create an atmosphere of dread and to signal the presence of vampires. The fog rolls in during key moments, often preceding or accompanying the appearance of the undead. This use of fog is not just a visual effect, but also a narrative tool, symbolizing the encroaching evil that gradually overtakes the town. The thick, swirling mist that envelops characters adds a layer of disorientation and fear, making familiar environments feel strange and dangerous. The fog effects were achieved through the use of smoke machines and careful lighting, which gave the town a ghostly, haunted appearance. Number 4 is the use of lighting effects. Lighting plays a crucial role in the horror aesthetic of Salem's Lot. The miniseries often uses stark, directional lighting to create sharp contrasts and deep shadows. This technique enhances the gothic atmosphere and accentuates the unsettling appearance of the vampires. The use of backlighting, particularly in scenes where the vampires are floating or emerging from the shadows, helps to create a supernatural glow around them, emphasizing their otherworldly nature. The eerie blue tint used in many night scenes adds to the cold, deathly feel of the town as it falls under the vampire's influence. This color palette, combined with the lighting, reinforces the sense of dread and the supernatural. Set design and miniatures are our next topic. Number 5 is the Marsten House. The Marsten House, which serves as the central locus of evil in Salem's Lot, is a prime example of effective set design and use of miniatures. The house's exterior was a constructed set, designed to look decrepit and menacing, with its boarded-up windows and looming presence overlooking the town. The interior sets were equally unsettling, filled with dark, claustrophobic spaces, and decaying furnishings that reinforced the house's role as a place of malevolence. The house's exterior was also depicted using a large-scale miniature model for certain shots, particularly those showing the house from a distance or during establishing shots. These miniatures were seamlessly integrated with live-action footage to create the illusion of a single, terrifying location. The meticulous design and construction of the Marsten House set helped to make it one of the most memorable haunted houses in horror history. Now let's discuss the special effects sequences. Number 6 would be involving the death of Straker. Richard Straker's death scene involves one of the more elaborate special effects in the miniseries. When Straker is impaled on a wall-mounted set of antlers, the effect is achieved through a combination of practical effects and editing. The use of prosthetics and fake blood, combined with careful camera angles, made the death both gruesome and impactful without relying on excessive gore. This scene is a great example of how effective practical effects can be in creating visceral horror. Number 7 is the exploding windows and vampire deaths. When vampires are exposed to sunlight or killed with a stake through the heart, the effects often involve dramatic flashes of light and the shattering of windows or mirrors. These effects were created using a combination of pyrotechnics, breakaway glass, and practical lighting effects. The exploding glass is symbolic of the breaking of the vampire's hold on reality, as well as a visually striking way to convey their destruction. And finally, number 8 is the final confrontation. The climactic scene in which Ben Mears and Mark Petrie confront and destroy Kurt Barlow in the basement of the Marsten House features several special effects, including Barlow's demise. The makeup and prosthetics used for Barlow's corpse-like appearance are showcased in this sequence, where his death is depicted with a mixture of practical effects, including fake blood and makeup to show his rapid decomposition. In conclusion, the visual and special effects in the 1979 version are a testament to the power of practical effects and careful craftsmanship in horror filmmaking. By relying on makeup, atmospheric effects like fog and lighting, and practical set design, the miniseries creates a sense of dread and unease that has stood the test of time. The restraint in using effects, favouring mood and atmosphere over spectacle, helps to ground the horror in a reality that makes it all the more terrifying. The iconic imagery of floating vampires, the imposing Marsten House, and the grotesque makeup of Kurt Barlow are indelible parts of horror history, cementing Salem's Lot as a classic that continues to influence the genre.